I think it's time Gen X actually takes the narrative. I'd say take the narrative back, but we never really had it. We had our parents always telling us, be seen, not heard. And then we have our Gen Z kids and maybe younger millennial kids basically, well, Mom, I need this. Dad, I need this. You have to help me. And being good parents, we just go ahead and do it. And so everybody has kind of taken advantage of our generation. If you disagree, I understand, but I'm sorry, we have been taken advantage of. I'm having a major issue at work right now with my scheduling. I was supposed to go down to part time, which I am part time, but my part time is still basically 40 hours a week. I just don't get the benefits anymore. And basically, it's because I'm reliable. Well, guess what? I'm done being reliable. That doesn't mean I'm going to change my personality and just stop being reliable, but I am going to have a conversation. To quote a famous line from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, when the Ferrari goes crashing through the glass window and falls from the second story into the onto the ground. My manager and I are going to have a little chat. Remember that line? When Morris comes home, he and I will just have a little chat. And that's where I'm at. Now, I've tried to have this chat several times without a whole lot of luck because my manager is always too busy. I finally get her attention and then the phone rings or whatever the case may be, or she sees somebody else that she'd rather talk to because she doesn't like confrontation. And it's getting frustrating because again, my part-time wasn't, well, I'm just going to give up my benefits, but I'm going to continue to work 40 hours a week. It was, I want less hours, and you haven't been following through with that. Now, I don't know how it's going to go. I mean, I might not have a job tomorrow afternoon after I have this conversation, but at this precise moment, I'm kind of at a point where it's like, whatever. Because she might want to work 60 hours a week. All the power to her. If you want to work 60 hours a week, all the power to you. But we're getting older. It's getting harder. And and we're either so valuable that they take advantage of us, or we're getting pushed out, depending on what your job is. And, they call us sandwich generation for a reason. And we're the sandwich more so just because of our parents and our children. We're the gap between analog and digital. And we're the reliable ones, but at the same time, if they can find somebody who's got 40 years to work, they're probably going to hire them, even if they're not that reliable, because they can start to, excuse my language, but suck the life out of them. Um, and I just had a birthday last week. I've been reflecting on what that means. And I decided a couple months ago it was mainly because of physical reasons that I decided to switch departments. I have my job can be physically demanding. I switched departments so I could get away from that. And then when I took that leap, I just went ahead to, I also want to cut down my hours because I don't want to work this much. I don't have to work this much. I want to have more time. And all I've accomplished so far is yes, I'm in the new department. I don't have the physical, but at the same time, I'm basically getting scheduled for 40 hours a week anyway. So at the end of the day, it took me a little bit to figure this out because the way the schedule works, it was very strategically planned. It took me about 6 weeks to figure this out. But the only thing I gave up was the benefits. So to quote one more famous line from the 80s. Good old Nancy Reagan. If this doesn't, if she tells me that I don't have a choice, I'm going to say, just say no. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm going to go to the hours that you plan for me, or we're going to be having a totally different conversation. So, again, I'm only talking for myself. There's a million Gen X channels out there, and each one is just a little bit different, and a lot of them are, well, this is why you're feeling the way you're feeling, and this is, and how we've been taken advantage of, and how we're the reliable ones, and it's time to get off um, the mouse wheel or rat race or whatever you want to call it. And, but we can't quite yet because we're not old enough. And that's kind of where I'm at. There's actually a gentleman who works with me who only works a few days a week to begin with, but he's quite a bit older. He's just does it because he wants something to do, and he's actually leaving us next week. But he's old enough to do it, and I feel for him because it is medical issues. But at the same time, I'm kind of jealous of him because he can just get away with it and be perfectly okay. And yes, I'm a little nervous because finding a job at our age is a little, if that's what it comes down to, is not as easy as it used to be. But I've always figured it out before, and I'll figure it out again. But I think it's time that Gen X just stands up and says, enough is enough. We're done. We're just saying, no, you're not gonna take advantage of me because you think you can, because we are quote unquote reliable. And I'm using quotes when I say that because that is exactly what my manager told me is you're reliable. You always show up. You always do your job. You're always friendly with the customers. You're always this. You're always that. You're reliable. And at first I took it as a compliment, but again, after having my birthday, I sat back and just kind of thought about it a little bit. And it's like, yeah, I am reliable, but I'm not going to be taken advantage of because of it. Just think about it. Have a beautiful day. Bye now.